Hello, hello, this is your captain speaking, JD Grossmitz, lead singer and streaming talent of Malignant Bear, and today, your flight captain for a quick tour of Liechtenstein. We are playing today Microsoft Flight Simulator. For those who aren't aware, maybe our international viewers, Thanksgiving is one of the busiest travel holidays of the year, especially in the United States, and so we figured that in honor of the occasion, I would learn to fly in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And of course, if we were going to fly anywhere, we had to do a little flight tour of Liechtenstein. I will say before we jump into the game that this stream is probably going to be, or not stream, rather video. We're doing this pre-recorded because this was so scuffed that it didn't work as a stream. So we're doing it as a video instead, and it's still going to be very scuffed. This game brings my computer to its absolute knees, and you'll see why when we jump into it. And I'm doing the audio with a headset microphone to kind of better simulate the in-flight experience of what you might hear. What's the deal with airline food? But anyway, without any further ado, because I do want to keep this relatively short before my computer melts, let's jump into Flight Simulator. So you can see here we're on the main screen of Microsoft Flight Sim. This is another game that I got through Game Pass, and I will say right away, this game was 200 gigabytes to install, and you have to install it through its own launcher, and it took 8 hours. And I have fiber internet and installed this on an NVMe drive. I have no idea how you're supposed to play this on anything less than what I have. But anyway, there's a lot of options in this. You have flight training, specific activities, more content that you can download, discovery flights, which we'll check out later on, and of course the world map. I am playing this with just a controller and all of the possible flight assists turned on. So looking at the world map, as you can see, zoomed in there into Europe, and it does real-time flight conditions, which is very interesting. So we're zoomed in already to Liechtenstein. Of course, I prepared a little bit for this. We're going to turn off the real-time though, just so we can get to actually see things. You have some options here where you can see other players, real-time air traffic, live weather, and of course live timing. When you're doing a flight like this, you can pick every possible option. So where you take off, where you land to, what plane you use. There's not a whole lot in the game to start with, just 32. I'm going to be using the Pit Special S2S in red. I think it looks pretty good for flying through the Alps. But you can see there's quite a few other ones here as well. But again, not as many as I would like. This game is a real flight simulator, and that is to say if you turn off the assists and play this with an actual flight stick and full simulation materials, you can log hours in this as actual flight sim hours for pilots. It took me a while just to figure out what I was doing. It's almost impossible with a keyboard and mouse, so I did controller instead, and thankfully it knows what I meant, because if you plug in a controller, it turns on every possible flight assist and just treats it as more of a game. So, let's jump in and fly. So this game uses satellite imagery of the entire world, so you can fly literally anywhere in the world, and AI has enhanced it in some instances, and then in some more specific places, humans have gone in and retouched things to make it look a little bit better. So, you can see you start in the cockpit here. It has some restricted view. Obviously it's giving me some details. I have some other things on the UI that I added a little map here to help me out. It has your objectives to help you with takeoff. Here's all of our instruments. You can interact with these directly if you want to. You can play this in VR as well, from what I know. But again, playing with the controller, it dumbs things down a lot for us. We're going to go to third person, just so we can actually see what we're doing. Otherwise this would be very difficult. But it gives us our instructions for how to get started. And I apologize, as I said, this video, I keep saying stream, this video is going to be scuffed. There's going to be frame rate drops in this, and hitching and stuttering. This is running at Ultra and 1440p. It's running fine on my end. It does not record well, and it streamed even worse when I did a test stream. So, we have to apply full throttle and get going. And take off. So one of the content updates for the game was Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. It named them specifically. Didn't name the little country in the middle that we're about to visit. So we'll see if it's retouched, because I checked it out earlier on its own. And it looked pretty good. But as of this video, I have the content update that supposedly improved the region. So you can see, because of all the assists that I have turned on, it's giving me a lot of extra information on the screen. You have your objectives, we have our little map here. You can hear the flight traffic talking to us. You can change the language on that, of course. I debated doing this entirely in German, again, given the subject matter, but figured that might be a little bit much. So again, satellite imagery, Bing Maps was used for something worthwhile, and then fixed up with AI, and then in some cases retouched by humans. You have full control over what you see in this game, because again, it's showing you everything. You have a little toolbar up at the top here, and all these extra options. You can see it's giving me all these little tips. We'll hide the map so we can see a little bit more. We'll keep the objectives on. So you can change the weather and conditions on the fly if you want to. So for example, if you're thinking, I want to see what it looks like in the Alps with snow, it's gorgeous. But you have little markers of towns and things that you're flying over. So we're flying up into Liechtenstein from the southwest, roughly. Started in Switzerland. Of course, Liechtenstein is incredibly small. Just a few little towns and the mountains. Gorgeous mountains, though. I'm trying to move the camera very slowly to hopefully reduce any frame rate stuttering. But again, with real-time, if I was to do real-time weather and satellite imagery in time and everything, for example, if it was raining in Vaduz today, you would see that. Engine noise is, of course, very loud in this plane. I don't care. Again, it's thematic and neat. I think it fits what we're doing here. Rainbow's a bit much, though. Let's do live. In real time. Nighttime. You can see the lights coming on. There is some snow, actually. Makes sense. We're almost into December in the Alps. But again, it changes on the fly. Turn off real time here. Change off live weather as well. So we are directly over Vaduz. This is the capital city of Liechtenstein, the capital and largest city in Liechtenstein. Right over the river there is, of course, Switzerland. And right over the mountains on the other side would be Austria. It does look slightly different than it did before. See if they added the royal family's residence. Sort of in here. But to be very careful turning the plane. Even with all the assists on, it is remarkably easy to stall it out. Yeah, it doesn't look like they did. So coming up here on the left, this little patch of oddity here, that is the royal family's residence, the Palace of Liechtenstein. I was hoping they would have added it when they retouched the region, but apparently not. So, again, Liechtenstein. Very small, mountainous country. Let's fly a little further up. See the mountains. Well, I mean, you can see them anyways, but a lot of radio chatter. You have full control over your fuel as well, and that is something you have to monitor and keep track of. The amount of fuel you have does impact your flight speed and everything, even on the easy mode that I'm playing right now. Streisenberg. Not very far from Vaduz, obviously. This is where you'd go to get further up in the mountains. Maybe think about skiing. Or some climbing. This game is simply stunning, and I wanted to showcase how stunning it is, even at the cost of the frame rate. So that's why I didn't compromise on this at all. The game auto-detected to Ultra, and on my end it is running at roughly 45 FPS, which is pretty good for how good it looks. But again, it doesn't record properly, and it certainly didn't stream properly, given just how demanding it is. And to try to stream this while it's doing any of the real-time updating would have been quite taxing on my internet as well. Anyone who is streaming this game is almost certainly either turning down the settings or running a dual PC setup. There's no other way you could do it. It's quite the view, though. Stall it out here. Oop, nope, 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 nope. No, 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 no. As you can see, we're in such easy mode, we in fact cannot die. Amazing. But let's check out something else, though. Again, short flight of Liechtenstein. There's not a whole lot to see there. I'm glad it's actually in this game, unlike Eurotruck. I'm still disappointed about that. So discovery flights are an interesting thing in this game, and these are preset flight paths where it has a set location, time of day, and weather and plane, and it's just to showcase basically the beauty of the world and the game engine that Microsoft used for this. You had a couple by default, and then some more that you could download. So we already saw the mountains, and they're nice. Of course, shout out to Germany, our neighbors to the north, Switzerland to the west. Let's explore Tokyo, though. So you can see preset flight conditions and plane. It starts you already flying, and it has some information about where you're flying to. Let's check out Tokyo real quick. Tokyo in the twilight. You can download more of these, and I assume more planes and things as well. I haven't looked too much about it. Again, because this game is 200 gigabytes, and I didn't want to make that any larger. Struggling to load here. Ready to fly? So, 4:25 in the morning? It has preset music for these as well. I tried the one that was in Scotland, and it had a very Harry Potter inspired theme, and the one in Norway was just straight out of Skyrim. You can see it has points of interest marked. There's Mount Fuji in the distance. A little too far away for it to be marked, though. We can crash in this one. and it will end it for us immediately. Of course, in Cockpit with a newer plane, you can actually see things there, but you can see a lot more doing this. I had grand ambitions to stream this and really showcase a lot more things, but again, with just how taxing this is, I had to kind of scrap that. We will be revisiting this at some point, though, for something very specific that I can't wait to showcase. It'll take some practice on my part, though. I'm glad this game accepted controller and did it easy mode. I was ready and waiting to basically spend hours literally learning how to fly a plane to do this. But again, thankfully, didn't have to do that. So, the land of the rising sun in the morning makes sense. See if we can thread the needle between some buildings. Again, just absolutely stunning. The downside, of course, of this game is it is on Steam, and Steam does have a refund policy. It doesn't work for this because the download takes so long that you won't be able to actually finish it. Because it downloads just a small file through Steam and then the rest is in-game. And again, it took me 8 hours, which is significantly more than 2. So I was going to stall the plane out there, so that wasn't going to work. But again, you can get a feel for this flight simulator. Absolutely amazing. It's quite the soccer pitch down there. Baseball, of course. Big in Japan. Oop. Don't want to crash into that. Let's fly a little bit closer to Fuji, see if it shows up. Obviously, it's a little harder to travel these days, so this is a nice substitute for that. It's not quite the same as being in these places. But with modern technology, looks pretty good. But anyway, this is Microsoft Flight Simulator. Again, just wanted to put out a quick little video on this because I had ambitions to stream it and it didn't work out. And again, I apologize for the scuff in this in more ways than one. Pretty cool, though. Worth checking out, especially if you have Game Pass. Again, with the obvious caveat that set it to install and then go do an entire day's worth of something else. And then maybe it'll be done by the time you get back. And definitely play this with a controller. When I attempted to play with mouse and keyboard, it told me to remove the brake on the plane when I first started out. I had to hit numpad delete, which is not a key on my keyboard. And I couldn't rebind it because pretty much every single key on the keyboard and every single combination of keys was being used for something. So definitely play this with a controller. Sure is a lot of city here. You can leave the flight whenever you want. You can turn on autopilot in flights as well. So if you really want to just enjoy, you can do that. But anyway, Flight Simulator. Hope you enjoyed our very brief tour of Liechtenstein. Of course, there's plenty more you can do in this game, and our slightly longer tour of Tokyo. And if you're traveling, or not, regardless of what you're doing for the holidays, we hope you enjoy them. We hope you enjoyed this video. We appreciate your viewership. And until next time, have a good one.